Yavrug Nation React I Weed here, sitting here for Kitzveh Imats. I simply said that I would do a broadcast tonight. The children are preparing for a trip on tomorrow for the learning, the school and everything, the parents. And I said I would come on live tonight. If you want to call in, we don't have everything set up the way we should. We're becoming a little more professional. But I want to teach because there are quite a few of y'all on what we call the platform WIC. That your objective or your agreement when it comes to that thing we call love. And we have our own perception of what love is, and that's the most profound thing. The Torah must express what it is. Love is. And you must look at that scripture in that perspective, that love is. And you must understand what it implies and what it is. Has nothing to do with what you perceive it to be, nation. And that's just a fact. How can anyone really truly keep a deep affection when you have no affection for Yah? You cannot. So what we call love, it is not what the Torah calls love. And we're going to delve in that this evening. We base things on what we call a principle of emotions, and it's a feeling. And that's what we have been taught is a deep affection. It develops a friendship of appreciation. You develop this allegiance, your alliance with who you think you love. And then it is something that is cherished very deeply with a devotion. In essence, that's what a man and his Isha, his wife, they develop that. But how do you develop that when you don't even know, you've never been taught the principles of love? Well, how can you say that, man? Because I'm an old man. I've been around a few hours. And this is what we call love. It is just not love. And that's just factual. You don't have to buy it, but it is the truth. And I preach from this book. I preach line upon line, in essence, word upon word, precept upon precept. I draw little from the books that you're not familiar with, Shirach, and all of those. Here a little and there a little from the renewed covenant, the Brit Chadassa, and from the old covenant. And we must understand what Yah defines as love. There is no other love of what Yah defines. I must say it's been a warm day here. I'm sitting here with my office door open. I have been working basically all morning. Not all, but just about all morning until this evening. And then I was just out about half an hour ago preparing seeds to plant on tomorrow. To get my corn seeds started, I will soak them overnight so that hardness and callousness the shell shall be somewhat pliable, and they will germinate faster. So I've been working, planting, and some of everything today that I delight in. I enjoy it. I certainly do love working. Above all, working for Yah, and I love to work. I love the dynamics of physical work. I love to work, and I do. I love to do that. But I want to teach tonight the essence of what love is. You can only go by that example of what love is. And when we use that love, what it is, what it implies, you're talking about the very essence of love. And I will show us what the principle and where the principle of what we call love began. We base it upon some kind of physical allegiance or alignment. But that's not what the Torah says. I want to read this. We're 3 minutes past our regular time on Kitzveh Emet. And as I said, I wanted to speak tonight as our children prepare for a trip with their parents on tomorrow to a museum and enjoy things, and I assume to a park somewhere, and to enjoy the fellowship with their parents as they work. But let me read this. I want to read this profoundly because we must understand, nation. We must, how do you understand things when you don't understand what words imply? We are an exception of readers and can enunciate words, the volume of it all. But we must understand what we're reading. And I want to begin here in Romans chapter 13, verse 10. I simply want to begin here. And this is Shaul. He speaks about what we call love is, what it is, the principle. And I will prove this throughout Torah, to the Old Covenant writings of the Old Covenant of Torah, and in the Brit Hadassah, that which has been renewed by the birth and the life of Yahshua HaMashiach. And he writes here, Shaul, unto those scattered abroad throughout Rome. He tells me this, Romans 13:10. He said, love works no chachos. It works no evil. It does not do any harm in bad nature. It is not pernicious. There is no destructive nature about love. It doesn't destroy those that you love. But he gives us a profound directive of what love is. There is only 7 times where that expression, the word love, and then is the verb and what it implies. We have not been taught how to read this book properly. I can say that for a man that's been preaching over 40-some years, 45 plus years. I know. And we will debate without the knowledge of substance of this book. But this is what Shaul says. Love works no chachos. It doesn't work any kind of evil or harm to anyone. It doesn't have any bad nature toward anyone, husbands and wives and husbands and children. It is not of a destructive nature. That's love now. To who? His neighbor. You do no wrong. I don't care whether the man, the woman is saved or unsaved, whether they know Yah or don't. If you live in that environment, that kind of community. But when Yah is speaking of our neighbors, he's speaking about the house of Israel. Therefore, this is what love is right here. Shaul and the Novi'im and the prophets of old, they knew. They were taught. They had parents that taught them and brought them up in the fear and the nurture of Yah. Our parents, let me apologize. My mother did not. She could not teach that. I had no uncles or any relatives that could even give me insight of Torah. Love works no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the pleroma. It is the fulfillment of what? The Torah. Love is the operation of that writing from the Bereshit, the beginning. That there's a profound love for it, a truth that consistently and constantly set us in the order and the way of Yah. Well, I don't have to keep no Shabbat, and that's a lie. How can you say a Sunday liar, creature of corruption, you cannot even have love without fulfilling the grand Torah, the words of Yah? It works no ill. You know how funny we can be, immature, our nature, pernicious and all, we're funny acting juveniles. Love is the fulfillment, pleroma. It is completeness of Torah. That's what Torah is. The Torah is love. To show our great burning passion for Yah. That we have a king and a ruler. We have our Abba that will guide us to life. Yet forgiving us of all of mind corruption. That's what love is, nation. But you can't tell me I don't love you. Well, wife, do you fulfill the obligations and the role of a wife? You honor your husband, man? And man, do you love your wife as Torah commands? Are you up, down, twisted, sideways? A woman to your rule by emotions. Love is the fulfillment of the Torah. Man, love your wife, and wife, you learn to honor that man. You don't see much of that today, nation. Marriages are plummeting, and it's just it's a catastrophic mayhem. That is what fulfills the Torah, love. That is the action of love, applying the principles of Yah's foundation of truth. That is what pleroma. That is what shows your completeness, your actions, the activities of your heart. That's what it does, nation. We've allowed ourselves to be drawn to all of these kind of mystics of what love is. Well, you can't tell me I don't love. I know you don't love. You talk to your husband that way. You treat your wife that way, man. You're a little boy. You talk to your grandmother, your avat that way. We're going to prove all things. So you must begin in Torah to understand the fulfillment of love. And we're going to prove every aspect according to Torah and the revelation of that in the visitation of a living word, Tshuwah HaMashiach. I'm reading from Paul. His descriptions, where did he get this from? He got it from the Brit Chadasah, from the book, from Torah. That's what he got it from. And the prophets and the messengers of Yah. He writes here, look what he writes unto Philippians 2:12. He exhorts us to a kind of personality and person, that we as a nation of people, we would humble ourselves. Yahshua being our example, he was our example. Now we must show the world the example of the power of this great Achava Gadol of Yahshua HaMashiach. And these are the words of Shaul, not my words. You can understand this by simply reading. He says, look what he calls us. He says, wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. I'm not with you. I'm not there to chastise, correct. I write you this letter by the urgence of Haruach, because you need this in your midst. He said you must work out your own, your salvation. Listen, he tells us with fear, yirah, and great or trembling. There's a fear that will overtake you. And you know when you're wrong. You know that. You must work out your own. Well, no one tells me what to do. Well, that's not a wise statement, young man, young woman. You have to work out your salvation with fear, yirah. That there is an excess of trembling and fear because you know the trepidation that it is of Yah. He kills and he makes alive. He sends them down to the darkness of the corridor of hell. We don't have to believe it, but that's a fact. You must work out. You can't have salvation, the Yom Shach of Yah, without fear and trembling. Not what others will do to you, but it's your own corrupt, immature, juvenile ways. We don't want to deal with subjects and that kind of substance. We really don't, nation, but we must deal with it with fear and trembling. What does that imply? Well, we know what the fulfillment of love is. They had no book of the Brit Hadassah, and that is throughout Torah. That there is a reverence of Torah guidance, that we must apply the principles of Torah, that we may understand and realize the walk, the talk, and the actions of this life. We must. That's why he says, you know, and you know what Torah says. If a man committed this sin, he must die. Take him and kill him. These are the commands of Yah. And then he speaks with the profound essence of his heart. He says in verse 13, for it is Yah which works in you both to have this will, this driven force in you, and also to do asah, practice, to do his tough pleasure, what he delights in. If you do what Yah delights in, it's like a child. I've never had a child. I have no one that no one can lay to my charge. I don't have one now. But when a man has a child, he plays in that son and the daughter. He plays in the daughter the strength of a man, because he is the example of man and the power of a man she will ever know and learn. And a mother is the beauty of a woman that Yah knows that she represents the beauty of a great honor that caused that man to love her like he's never loved himself. And he will. He will. When she honors him, he loves her with a great, refined love. As the old saying, like fine wine, has gone through the purifying process. We must walk in the Torah guidance, for it is Yah that work in you both to do his chafetz, his pleasure, and to do his tough will. He commands us in verse 14 to do all things without murmuring and disputing. That's a commonplace among the nation of Israel. We dispute this and that and this. It adds nothing to our lives. It adds no strength that we can boast, well, I got him. I talk better than him. It means nothing. It is the actions of a man. It is the work. It is the working of Torah in us. Yahshua is the living Torah. That was not the spell. He refined every offering, every zabach, to the power of Yah's word, for us to understand what that power is, and that it permeates down in the midst of our nefesh, our being, in a powerful way. He says this, that you be blameless and harmless, without any harm. There is no accusation that they can bring against you. I know people lie. I've preached for a long time, and I know the lies that have been told on me. And because a liar will go to another liar, the other liar will believe the lies of the liar. And that's just a fact. Did they lie on Yahshua? I know Yahshua. Did they lie on Shaul and the messengers of old and had them killed and lied? Men that taught them the principles of truth. Do all things without murmuring and disputing. You don't like what one says? That we can be blameless and harmless. What? The sons of Yah without rebuke in the midst, look what he called this world, a crooked and a diastreth, a corrupt world whereby each is plotting against each other, against the plan and the saving power of Almighty Yah. That's what they're doing. Among whom you shine as light in the world. Should we not shine as light? Should we not be the awe of Yah that our expression, our love is seen? When people see you, they will speak to you and say things to you. When they see the beauty of your charm and your care and your love, especially with husband and wife. I've been married a long time, so I know. I know as I've gone places, I know how people respond to my issue, and it's just a factual truth. It's just the truth. We should shine as the ore in the world that our disposition, our personality, and all should shine. And others look at us and say, she's different. He's not like others I've seen. And that's the way it should be. I present myself that way. And I will not allow anyone to try to pervert that disposition and say, well, he thinks he's someone. Well, I know I am someone. I am a child of the living King. And I operate in the nurturing of his truth that dwells here in my heart. And I perform those duties with the strength of his assurance. And that is simply the word of Yah, nothing else. No ability of myself. And then he tells us this, Shaul. He says in Philippians 2:16, you must hold forth, holding forth the word, not words, but this word. Yeshua is the living word, the word of life, that I may boast and rejoice in the day of Hamashiach. I want you all to know this. This is my boast, that I have not run in vain, neither have I labored in evil. And the vanity of my mind and the corruption of my thoughts that has override me or will override or has taken the command and the charge of my heart, my life. That Torah means nothing. As a young child, excuse me, nation, we were taught that the old covenant you didn't need. You don't have to read the Old Testament. And that's why in those years, in the 50s, 60s, they would give out those renewed covenants in school and home. They would. I recall it. But you never had the Brit Hadassah, the fullness of the book. And my mother and those that were in the position of being leaders in Christianity, they would say, oh, you don't need the old covenant. But I always knew that it was one book. And so the old and the new must witness. It must bear the witness of each other. And I never bought that. We must hold forth the word of life. Why? That Shaul says, I may rejoice. That I may rejoice in the day of Hamashiach, because my labor was not be in vain. I will say this, nation, I'm not going to be favored by many. Never have. I'm not offended at that. I'm not upset with no one. I know that. It doesn't make me special, but I know my battle. And I know what I am driving for. I know that. And I will not allow anything to remove me from that. Not wives, sons, daughters, and no one. And I do love me some Imr Rafia, my beautiful daughter of Tizayan. All these years, I've lived a loyal life to her with faithfulness and honor. And I've honored her because she has shown me great honor. And I show her that honor with the same kind of love that her honor represents. That's the way it should be. Look what he says here. As I said to us, I want us to understand what love is. In Yochanan, 1 Yochanan 4:7, 1 John. This is the whole of the Torah. He says it all of what the Torah is in this verse. Love is, and we know that is a verb. It's an action word, and it's a word that indicates what is. So love is the presence, right? Let us read from the book then. Let us not try to give meaning to this book because it is revealed by the book. It's revealed by the old and new, the prophets, the Novi'im, and the Tehillim, the writings of wisdom. This is what Yochanan said because he had read those books. He had the ability to see them and actually read the scripture. He didn't have one of his own, but he could get it. They were precious in those days. Yochanan says, beloved, let us love one another. For love is, that word, love is. It represents the tenets of love. Love is. That's what that verb represents. It is an indication of what love, what is. It represents that, nation, love. And that verb is represent what love is. You can't get it any other way, nation. Love is of Yah, and everyone that loves a Chava is truly born of Yah and knows Yah. You can't be born again without a love for Torah, from the Bereshit to Gilyana. You cannot be. And Christianity doesn't teach you that. Your Hebrew Israelite doesn't teach you that. They call on a pagan lie. It's a pagan lie. You can make him of color. He's a white boy. And you know that. You know what he is. It's a lie. He did not have an English name. You do not translate names. You transliteral. Abu Muhammad. His name is Abu Muhammad in every language. Just like Hamashiach's name. In every language, it is the same. You never destroy the integrity of a name. And that's factual. There is no love because love is Yah. How do you learn it unless you learn it from him? Come on, nation. Yah is love. Love is of Yah. Yah is love. How do you understand love unless you understand his principles, his truth? You can't learn this from some kind of play school. Yah is. Yah is. Love is of Yah. That's his makeup. And everyone that has had this Brit Chadasa, this new birth renewed, they will know Yah truly. And that's factual. Let me show us this then. This is love right here. Yochanan says this, 2 John 1:6. And this, now that is a pronoun, isn't it? I tried to learn things in school. I didn't finish high school. I dropped out because I was ignorant. He says, and this is this pronoun. What is it for? It's an indication. It is used for a thing, idea, what is present, something, or what is supposingly, or what is understood. That's what it is. He says this identifies what? This is. He identifies what is. Listen, nation, don't be callous-hearted. He identifies what is. What is? Love. He says, and this is Chava. This is love. You can't describe it any other way. That we walk after his mitzvah, his mitzvot, his commandments. You have no love. That's why, especially those that, what is that, awake? Reach, he thinks, come on, he knows what love is. I'm telling you what the book says. I don't know what love is without this book. You must walk in the commandments of Yah. But my son is a Sunday preacher. He's a lawyer. He's a pig and a swine. Fact of the matter. This is. You see what that little two-syllable word is? The indication. See what that verb is? See what it means? This is the action of love. Love is statement. We walk, halach, we travel, we endure all afflictions and trial after his commandments. After the commandments, the mitzvah of Yah. The first four deal with loving Yah, doesn't it? So we don't love Yah like we think we do. Then he give us 6 to love each other and to share with each other and to be kind with each other. Get mad, but get glad. We are an ignorant generation. We are so full of pride that we think we're bright and intelligent. Your education, as the old people would say in my days, that boy become nothing but an educated fool. He ain't got nothing. He thinks he knows everything. But God, where he come from? Show this, what is that? That word, this, what is that? Disorganized. You have no love. Where you defy the commandments of Yah, you are a liar, and you walk in the fellowship of your own swinehood. This is love. It begins with the mitzvot of Yah. To love him with 4, to remember the Shabbat, and then you love your neighbor. He gives us 6 to deal with the stubbornness of each other and our heart ways and our callous hearts. We must be taught this way. You don't become a man, condition, or woman unless you put the work in. I would go to the gym every single day, and I worked out religiously. Believe me, I had a time schedule, and I made sure I was there. We must walk after his commandment. He says, this pronoun is this, isn't it? It indicates nation. That's an indication, that's an idea, that's a thing, that's a thought, and the action of that. He said, this is, emphatically, this is love. This is what love is. We don't know what love is. Our parents, my mother didn't teach me that, had no father to teach me that. We're going to prove all things in this book. You hear me? There are 13 verses in Torah that express love is. We'll deal with a few of them tonight. That indicates what love is. You cannot love unless we walk after his commandments. You cannot even learn the principles of love. You can say what you want to. Well, you can't tell me. No, the book tells me. It is the Torah of Yah. It is what Yeshua inspires. This is indication what is. What is? How can you love a man when you don't even love the Creator? This is insane what we've been taught. I don't condemn our parents. They didn't know. Our parents did not know. I certainly do not condemn my mother, my grandmother. They had no understanding. Many could not even read or write, but I can read quite well. This is the commandment that you have heard from the beginning. You should walk in it. So you tell me that that commandment from the beginning of all things has been diluted, that it has been cast aside with foolish nation. You get a feeling that, oh, I love him so much. You don't love him. You don't even know what love is. See, love would honor him. There are men and women, they meet and they say they love Yah. They're liars, and they engage in such folly. It's pathetic. Well, you don't believe in polygyny and polygyny and all of that, polyandra. I believe in what the book says. He gave Adam one wife. He did not give him any selection and say, choose, pick that one that has the bigger breasts and the hips and all of that. That's not what it is. I don't care if a woman is overweight or underweight. If she has the ruach of Yah in her, and she earnestly and honestly wait on Yah, he will send her a husband after his heart. Well, I've waited, but that's all right. You still don't have one. And that's just a fact. That is a fact. I'm not going to be loved by many. I'm not offended. I really don't care. I'm no shulishach, no prophet. But I know what I speak. We shall walk in his commandment. We have heard that from the beginning. You're hearing it tonight. Look what Yochanan says here. Yoshua says. He says it this way in his own fashion. He says to me and you, John 14:15. He said, if you love me, there's only one proof. He says, I want you to shemach, keep my mitzvah, keep my commandments. You can't tell me I love. I can see you don't know what love is. And that's why you get aggravated and offended when a messenger, a true man of Yah, speaks like me. Because this word cuts down in the deep of your wickedness and your corruption and reveals your very nature. Oh, my son loves Yah in a whorehouse on Sunday. You're a liar, mama, daddy, you're one too. Oh, my grandbaby, they all went to church on Sunday. Yah tells us to Shabbat, remember the seventh day and keep it set apart. And yet we defy that. We defy that. We've been taught to defy that. I know I went to a Baptist church. Not church, but the church, as the old people of my hue would say. I went to a Baptist church, and every kind of violent thing it was done there. Period. Adultery and fornication. That's why the parents, the daddy, the mama, the grandmama, can't talk about the beauty of a husband and wife engaging. And can't say to the young, beautiful daughter, say, baby, just wait. Because there's a gem that develops in your heart. If we wait on that season for Yah's time, he shall break that cord. It is the onset of love. That's why women don't know how to love no more. They've had men on every corner. And that's a fact. Men too. They don't know how to love. They don't believe that that's important. But it's vitally important. Can I go a little further? See, this is love now. This is. Love is. This is love, that we walk after his commandments. Well, you can't tell me I don't know how to love. That's what the book says. I'm speaking what the book says. And if you're not walking in these principles, you don't know what love is. You have no concept of love. And this is the commandment, that as you have heard from the Bereshit, you should walk in that. One will take you back to the Bereshit, to the Gilyana of this book. That's what a true messenger does. He doesn't get one chapter out of a book and talk on that. He goes and display the wisdom of that one word. And that's what I am. I am a word messenger of Yah. I preach on one word at a time. Can I go a little farther? Yochanan, again, he says in Yochanan 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandment. Do you love Yah? But you go to your whorehouse on Sunday. Or your uncle's a Sunday preacher, and he's coming to town, the missionary Baptist whorehouse, and you will go and then honor that trash. You are a pig. You are a swine, and you are a dog. I don't care who you are. I will never go into a dungeon of hell that way. And to honor one that defies Yah, it doesn't even love Yah. If you love me, keep my commandments. He's the living word, isn't he? Is he not the commandment of Almighty Yah? Is he not the Torah of Yah? If you keep your Shema, you guard that. We don't know what love is. I was never taught love. Even my emotions and feelings. Well, you can't tell me how to love. The book tells you, you don't know what love is. If we as men and wives would do what the book says, your marriage will work all the time. If you would honor that man, he will teach you how to love him. If he's a man but a little boy, can never do that. Not a little boy, but a man will. A man will. He will love you, believe me. And that honor that you show him elevates him and make him strong. He will back down to no man. And men will honor you because they see the strength of your man. That's a fact. And they will speak highly of him because they see the beauty, the tifrach of his issue. Moving on, all right? Who is my neighbor? I want to deal with that just a moment. This is what Yeshua says. He says in Matthew 19:19, he says, I want you to honor, that is the timi'ao, honor. And that is that you value. You take thought, you cherish, you esteem. You don't run to those that are your neighbors and say all kinds of things. But he tells you to honor your father and your mother. That's what he said. We must make sure that there's a great honor. And mama and daddy, you live like a mom and daddy. You show that esteem, that your testimony is true. I don't care what you did before y'all ventured into your heart. That has nothing to do with it. You could have been a whore or a slut. And people will get offended at me because I would say my wife was a whore and I was a whoremonger. That's what I was. Engaged outside of the covenant of YAH. It's wicked. It's corrupt. Period. You don't have to love me. I don't care. You don't love YAH. You get offended at what I'm saying. He tells you, son, daughter, to honor your father. This generation, mine. Can I say this nation? I will. Women of my hue, and many, 41% of them, that even their child, DNA and all of that, proves that that child is not that man. He is not the biological father. That is not your child. And 41% of the women, Mexican, white, black, it is much more devastating among people that whose skin hue is my skin hue. Your lying Baptist preachers not going to say anything, a fat hog what they are, robbing and raping you and your children, stealing, driving their big, fine fleet of cars, but you honor that. But a simple matter of truth like me, you will never honor him because you could never love him. And the reason you could never love him because you've never loved YAH, period. You can never care for him. Look what the book says. Honor your avat and your imam, and you shall love your neighbor, your plesion, anyone that is of the Aramaic or the Hebraic people, as yourself. Who do you love like that? You love your dad-in-law, your mom-in-law like that? Tell me who you love like that. I love everybody. We are such liars. If you would take your last dollar spent on you, then all right, give it to your neighbor. Give it to one that is of the nation. I meet people all the time. I engage with people. I love talking with people. And I speak this kind of truth. They may not understand it. I don't cast the pearls of YAH before swine. And people, it's amazing how they will talk and they enjoy talking with me. You lifting yourself up, I lift him. And great is the power of that in me than my own corrupt, evil, sadistic ways. Oh, speak sweet things to me. I am speaking sweet things to you, the things of truth. He tells me this. as we as a nation, here in Marcus, let me go there, but let me one more time on love your neighbor. Place you on anyone that is of the Hebraic people as yourself. Now, are we honest with ourselves that we love others like we love us? We're lied to us, then will you lie to someone else? We do corrupt things. This is what love is, not this fake, phony feeling you have that you think you love. Love has an objective, and it is sound according to this book. You shall love Yah with all of your heart. Keep this mitzvot, the commandments. We must. And we are so corrupt, we'll let someone lie to us, and we can see their actions. And because that's my husband or my wife, that's my mama, I have never defended no one. I defend truth. I'm set for defense of truth. And I don't care if people don't love me. My mother used to tell me, I hate you. But I know my mother didn't hate me. It was the great trials in her agony. Never had a husband. Yah meant for the woman to have a husband. He meant that. 6 children by 6 different men. That doesn't condemn her. I can't condemn her. She was taught that. How? By her environment, the actions of those that taught her. And we don't want to deal with that. And yet we love our daughters. And yet we live a life that is so corrupt and wicked. Teach her how to sell herself for nothing. Pair of shoes or telephone today. Come on, nation. Sell ourselves out to some little creepy boy. And he sell himself to some kind of little troubling girl. You need to preach more gentle. You'll be surprised, I've been preaching for a long time, how people have said that to me. Well, just kind of, don't be so hard. The Torah tells me the way of a transgressor is hard. This is not hard. What I'm preaching is truth. Moving on. You love your neighbor as yourself. He said, there is none other commandment greater than these. None other. Well, I don't like him, but that's all right. Do right by the man. I don't care if I don't like him. And I will honor him and regard him. I may not want his fellowship, but I will do that. I will. Verse 33, and the scribe said to him, well, my master, you have said the truth, for there is one Abba, and there is none but he. Your gods are many. And I have no problem with that. I know my Yah. I know my Abba because he instructs me in the annals of this book called the Torah. And I see the life of that in a Hamashi he raised up, his living word, as his son, come forth through the womb of a woman because he would have every challenge that I have had. And you. Yet he did not sin against his Abba. He did not. And that's factual. May I read verse 23? We must love him with all of our love and with all the understanding. I stated that we have no understanding of what love is. We have a feeling we think is love, but don't be silly. Stop that. Men lust, women lust. They carry out activities and they call that love. That's not love. I know we don't love to hear men preach and talk like this, but this is the only way I know. I don't know how to teach any other way. I teach the parameter of this book. Every subject I teach it. I have hundreds upon hundreds of teachings, thousands, that I've never taught. And I teach one word at a time. That's the truth. Now, you're hearing this for the first time. That's the way you teach. One word at a time. One word at a time. And then he tells us this. Can I read this again if I didn't read it? He said, and this is the second, in verse 30, 31 of Mark. And this is and the second is lach, that is homoias. Homoias. It is similar, it is the same, it is of the same identical construct. The first commandment is to love Yah, to remember the Shabbat, to love him. The first 4 commandments deal with loving him. And the next 6, 4 equals 10. And it shows us how to love our neighbors. He said, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is none other commandment greater than these. He tells me the second one is like. It resembles, has the same construct. It corresponds to the same thing. So loving Yah is loving Israel. Yah corrects me. Oh, I'm glad he does. And the truth corrects you. No one is above the truth. Whether you be offended or not, I don't give a knickers with a rat's dumplings. Period. The first commandment, loving him, just like the second one. They're identical twins. That's why he used the word like. Corresponds the same aspect, the same identifying factors. That's what the word implies. Homois. It resembles the same thing. And then he says, namely this. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Verse 31 again. There is none other commandment greater than these. That means there's 1 and there's 2. And the 10 complies with 1 and the second one. 6 he gives us concerning us. Understanding love. Well, you can't tell me I don't love. I know you don't love. And I know you don't know how to love. You got an emotion that it rapes you, that you call it love. It's not love. I have never understood this as a young man growing up. We ought to finish this tonight. Not finish. We'll come to a point where I can close. As a young man, my environment, it was just poor people. I was speaking to my YAH, and I said to him, you know, although we were poor, we lived in a wooden shack. We didn't have anything, no fine clothing or anything. So we ate pork and rabbit and catfish. But it was one thing that all of us in that home, my mother's children with my grandmother, her daughter's children, there was a complacency. We lived in that house together. No fussing and fighting and ravishing and no raping the young women and nothing like that. That's how we lived. We slept 3, 4 shifts. I slept between my oldest and my next to the oldest brother. I slept between them. Oldest brother loved me. I loved that man, but I would not compromise for him or anyone. And that's the way it happened. I have no regrets for that. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. But it was a very wholesome thing. We lived, we worked, we helped each other. You don't find that today. They live together, they raise hell day long and day night. Husband comes home, raise his wife work just like him now. You ain't got no food for me, gal. But she works just like he does. When I worked with my wife, I would come home and cook. Just us. At that time, my ignorance, I would take out to dinner, not McDonald's. I had nice places, what I thought was nice. I would take us. Let me move quickly here. Let me move here to Helium. I want to speak what David says. Did I read all this? Okay, yes. David says this. He speaks about love here. Tehillim 89 verse 30. He say, if his children, we're the being, we are the children of Yah, forsake my Torah. That is love, is Torah. And walk not in my mishpatim, in my judgment. You judge others, but you certainly do not with that severity of judging others. You judge yourself. I don't mind you judging me with the extreme judgment, because that keeps me straight. And you walk not in my judgment. You judging someone. You have forsaken the Torah. You give one a chance, not a chance, but you give someone a reprieval. So your judgment against you, your son, your daughters, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, it's not like you would judge one that would tell you the truth. And I am talking about those that keep the holidays, the Father name of Yah, and you send them into your Jesus heaven. That's all right with me. I don't have no compunction with that. But they're not going into the kingdom. And that's a fact. He said, if they break my chukah, my statutes, and keep not my mitzvot, then I will visit their transgressions with a rod, and their iniquity with stripes. Nevertheless, he says, my love kindness, I will not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. He said, my hands are extended. I'm going to whip you down like a dog, because that's what we are. And I will show you my love kindness of my Torah. But you have forsaken the Torah. You don't remember the Shabbat and keep it Shema Chadosh. You go to your whole house chicken dinner Sunday day. That's what you do. And you're bought into those lies. But I love everybody. We are liars. You don't know how to love everyone. That's a fact. You don't. You got an emotion that that's yeah. That's our love. That's our love wife. That's our love husband. He gives the man a commandment that he stand in the strength of the bowels of wisdom. He got that good in him. Nothing but little boys and little girls today, they think, children. I watch the little ones and I love them. And they would tell me, Papa, they call me Papi because I have no children. And they show me that regard and that honor of love. I'm not disappointed because I don't have children. Would have loved to have 10. Give me 6 daughters and 4 sons. They would have protected their sisters. And that's a fact. Or they would have had to come and meet me. Don't be silly. Love my girls, I would have spoiled my daughters. I don't know what they would have turned out to be, but I believe what the book says. I do. You train them in the way they should go. Now, training something is you must take time and train them. It's almost like when I use this as an example, I know we're not animals. It's like one training a thoroughbred. Got the body in shape, is sleek, teaches that beast how to run, steps, teach that thing how to lift their legs and trot. But yet we can't even teach our own kind how to love and to be affectionate and to be kind. We don't. You can't tell me I don't love mystery. I'm telling you what the book says. And the book tells me you don't know what love is. That way he speaks this. Don't forsake Yah's Torah. We break the statutes of Yah. We must keep his mitzvot from the beginning. He said, then would I visit their transgression with a rod. And I'm going to bring the stripes of death for their iniquity, their oving. And then he says, nevertheless, my love kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. You must love Torah. And this book esteem and exalts Torah. And we must walk in the principles of Torah, the book from Bereshit to Gilead, from the first page to the last. This is a spiritual book. In essence, it brings life and a will, a living breath in you. And if all men forsake you, you don't turn against this book. I will not. I don't care who turn against me. I don't. I will not forsake this for no one, or try to speak this differently than what it is. This truth of yours is powerful and it's sharp than any two-edged sword. It's meant to cut you, to show you me how nasty we is be. How about that language? Moving quickly. How do we know, nation, that those that say, I am a child of Yah, or them, how do we know them, or those that love Yah? Well, 1 Yochanan 5:2 says this, by nothing else now, by this we yada, we know that we love the children of Yah, when we love Almighty Yah. When we love Yah, that's how we know. And keep Shema, his commandment. It is one thing that Torah does. It trains us in love. It develops that capability to love, to share, to be kind. It does. We must keep his commandments. To love Yah with all, to love your neighbor as yourself. Those 6. You will do no evil to your neighbor or no one. I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not concerned about that. It will not. Love is the only ground that trains us. The Torah is the only ground that trains us in love. And that's why in these whorehouses that I was trained in as a young child, Baptist church, every Sunday morning, they didn't teach that. But I was always, as a young kid, I was always inquisitive. I would listen to that Baptist preacher and I would see how he would act after. Not that I had the ability to adjudicate or to understand the depths, but there was always something working in my heart. I knew this wasn't right. And that's why when Yah began to deal with me, I didn't go to a Baptist church or Methodist. I didn't go to any of those churches. Little place what they call holiness. And I visited that place because my brother was a part of that. My oldest brother, he's deceased now. And there's one thing I did when I first got that, began knowing nothing, but I was studying continuously, my wife and I, my issue. They needed someone to teach the young boys, and I took that assignment. She would teach the young girls. I would give them what we're going to teach on next first day and that. And I enjoyed that immensely. I would prepare myself and get ready. I prepare myself as I do now. And I would do that. And I began to learn. And then I began to see the fallacy in the preaching, not the book, but in the preaching. Torah is what trained us. Look what he says in verse 3 here, Yochanan. He said, this emphatically now, is the love of Yah. There is no other way. This is now This is. I made a statement on that pronoun and that verb. This is, emphatically, the love of Yah. That we, Shema, keep his mitzvah, his mitzvah. We keep, we honor, we shema, we guard his commandment. And his commandments are not grievous. They are not baros. They're not burdensome. There is no burden that it put upon us. There is no burdensome. There is no cruelty to the commandments of Yah. And it is unsparing. It makes no difference who you are. They're not grievous nation. And yet we've been taught in the Christian whorehouse that Jesus taught. He said, burden. Remember the Shabbat and keep it set apart. And we're trained to perform in lies. Just evil nation. It's not the truth of Yah. Just a swig. I've been working all day. It's been quite warm. I'm going to begin to show us Tshuwah. I've got everything set to go. And I want to put up videos every day to show you what we're doing, how we are preparing. We planted broccoli the other day. Let me get back to the word, all right? We'll talk about that sometime later. It's not grievous to keep his commandments. Man, I got stuff I do on Saturday. No, it's just the seventh day. Has nothing to do with that term, Saturday. Let me speak from the writings of Shlomo. Here in the book of Wisdom 6:16. I do use those books because I find the same kind of identical wording from Bereshit to the end. And these are the words here of wisdom, what Shlomo says. He talking about wisdom. This is what established the heart of men. He says, for she goes about seeking such as are worthy of her. Not every man possess wisdom, every woman. And wisdom does not penetrate the hearts of those that are ill to him. I use the term him, identify wisdom and the strength of the man-child. He tells us that. And shows herself favorably to them in the pathway. You got to walk in this way to understand the very beauty of wisdom. There's a reason why, nation. You don't have to like me, but do send your gifts, tithing, and offerings. I will use them honorably. You come visit us here. Wonderful meal, fresh, great, organic food. That's the only way I grow. I've been doing that from day one, really. I've never put any kind of synthetic chemicals. One time, I'd give you that. But as far as using synthetic chemicals, I don't use them. We do everything organic. I was talking to YAH Victory today. He said, preacher, this soil, because if you want your soil tests, I live in South Carolina, which they do a cruddy job. And during the years, I would search different labs that would test our soil. North Carolina would not test our soil because the soil is different. And I know that California out there, you don't bring anything out there and sow it in the soil. You don't put just anything on the ground out in Cali. And I look for those schools, ag schools, or have those departments. And I found one at Oregon. And we send all of our soil tests there. And they do an excellent job. And the last one we sent for everything, we're redoing our beds, is that the man said in the email, said, look, there's nothing you need to do to this soil. You will not need any fertilizer in this for at least 2 to 3 years. The composition. And I was talking with YAH Victory today, and he said, preacher, I put my heart in that. He said, I got some of everything in this. I got some of everything in this. He said, this is soil. Now, there's a difference between soil and organic matter. And every so many years, you got to put soil in an organic garden. That's why they began not to produce as much. And when he began to tell me what he put in there and the results from that, I planted the other day, Tuesday, because we had a nice rain, you watched it, and I put broccoli out, and then I will plant tomorrow. I will plant all kinds of things. I've never seen the weather like this in a March since I've been here over 30-some years. Listen quickly. Wisdom goes about seeking such as are worthy of her and shows herself favorably to them in the pathway and meets them. This is what wisdom does. Now, don't think like that, son. Meets them at every thought, every concept of the mind. The wisdom of Yah was that, no, come over here, son. Read that. Meets them at every thought. For the very true begetting, the bereshit of wisdom is, this is what it is, the desire of instruction and discipline. That's why we see many that have no wisdom. They do not desire instruction. They do not desire discipline of Almighty Yah. A concern for instruction of the discipline is love of her. You got to have discipline. And wisdom brings that discipline that we find in this book. Then it says in verse 18, look at this man, many wives, Shlomo. And love of her is the keeping of her Torah. You can never have wisdom without the keeping of his Torah. You can never have wisdom on your son Chordeh, your lies, corrupt name, Jesus Christ. You can never. And that's just the fact. And giving heed to her Torah is the assurance, I like that, of incorruption and immortality. We think, well, you can't tell me I ain't going into heaven. You're not going. We've been lied to. We've corrupted. No one corrupt you but you. No one made you lie or cheat. You did that. You did that. No one made you the way you are. Oh, the things you engage in and all of that could have been things to shape you, but I was in those things as well. But that was a deep compassion and a desire. I didn't want to walk that way. I didn't want to be a hustler and a thief and a gambler and a womanizer. I didn't want to be that, and I've never been that. And incorruption makes us near to Yah. He says, therefore, the desire of wisdom leads and brings us to a kingdom. That's the only thing, nation. That's what brings us to this Melchut, the kingdom of Almighty Yah, of his truth. We develop a love for truth, nation. You develop a love for your wife, man, if it's in the will of Yah. And many men have gotten married out of the will of Yah because of their lusts. It was not passion or desire. Because of our own lustful ways, we men are that way. Not understanding the beauty of the love for a wife. They don't. Look at the divorce rate in this nation. Oh my, it's crazy. It's insane. I want to show us what Shaul says in Galatians. It is the fruit of Yah, of the Haruach, that leads us the way, that we can walk in Haruach of Yah, and we do not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You will know that you have fruit by Haruach. He tells me the fruit of the Ruach. See, it comes by Haruach. It comes by the development of the mind, not some crazy emotions that was taught to me and others, but it is developed by the hearing of Torah, the word. It purges out, it takes out of our mind, our thoughts, that was an insult to Yah, and we embrace this truth. He tells us that the peri of Charuach, it begins with one thing. It begins with love. It doesn't begin with riches and money like these liars in these sun houses tell you. He tells us it's love. There's a great joy. There is shalom. And you learn how to suffer long, endure that. There's a gentleness, and everyone will say that. I'm that way. We deceive ourselves. No one deceive you. You lie to yourself. No one lies. You lie to yourself, and you make yourself feel wonderful. Long-suffering, gentleness, toughness. It says goodness. And it develops that imunah. That's what, these are the fruit of Haruach. And they that are in Messiah, Mashiach, have control the flesh. We that are in Yorkshire, we have, have control over our flesh with its affection and desire, the lust, the greed, the corruption. If we live in the Ruach, we are led. If we live in the Ruach, let us also walk in Haruach. That's the only way. You must walk in Haruach, the guidance of his truth, his Torah. Yah loves his children, but the wicked, he hates them. Shone, he despises them. I don't care if it's your mama, your grandmama, your dad. I don't care if she's 109. It makes no difference. We want to justify even the most vilest of individuals. I'm the most corrupt one. Because that's my family. They're just as wicked as the gates of hell. That's just a fact. No great love for Yah. I will read this. May I read this? Well, I will, irregardless. This is what David says here in Tehillim Psalms 11:5. Every verse of Yah is pure. He only opens the heart of those that he loved to buy. We, our nation, we will get upset anything that we perceive that is harsh. He doesn't know how to preach on love. I'm preaching love, my friend. You've never heard love preached like this? You've heard some chicken. As my grandmother and all them would say, it starts with the S. I won't pronounce it now. This is the loving and the great King and the Master of our lives. David said this to us, Tehillim Psalms 11:5. Yah hates the wicked. He hates your wicked children, your wicked husband, your wife. He says this. This is what Yah does with those that are his. Yah tries. He is the one that's bohan. He tests, he trials, he put us in circumstances to see if our imunah will rest in sure confidence. He tries only the sadiq. He tries the righteous. But the wicked and him that love chema, that love violence, it says Yah. That's the capital H in your text. His nephesh, he hates. Well, you can hate what the person do and love them and love the spirit. No, Yah hates them. That's why he called them wicked. The Risha, violent, contempt against him. Why are we not honest with those that we say we love? He said, upon the wicked shall rain snares and fire with brimstone. And horrible ruach, this shall be the portion of their cup. And that's factual, nation. Why don't we tell those that defy Yah, that have disdain for him? We don't want to do that. We can see it in others, but never your son, never your daughter, never your mother, never your aunt. We don't see it in them, and they're more violent and corrupt, nation. Yah begun to cause his word to speak from our heart. As far as what we call a natural family, I lost them all because I will not engage in their folly. I will not meet at their home for the chitlin dinners and fried chicken. I didn't do that. When a conversation of drinking and getting drunk and laughter and folly, I will not be a part of it. Smoking Mary Jane and cigarettes and all that filth, I will not. You think you're better? No, I know you're better than me. I will not engage with your folly. And I did not. I don't go to funerals or any of that because Yah doesn't command that in his writing. Keep the body 10, 12 days. Wait for every kind of heathen and fool to get together. And you will not mention the name of the Most High. I will not participate in any of it. I didn't do it for my mother. And she said one thing to me before she died. I didn't tolerate her folly. I didn't. She said to me, it makes me weep even today. I wish all of my children were like you. And I would say to her, they're men and a woman. They're out of your span of control. Don't let them worry you. And I will not participate. Or why you can't come? You think you better? I say, no, I'm not as complete, quote, as good as you. I will not, nation. I didn't despise them. I will not participate in their foolishness. And I will not do that with anyone. Their funerals and all that folly, drinking. And the last funeral I went to was my brother. And his friend put a bottle of whiskey, and the preacher looking at him. I said I would never, and that's been over probably nearly 40 years ago. I don't go to funerals. And that's just it. It made me no different how they felt about me. Getting back to what Dawid said. Verse 16, he said, upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire, brimstone, and horrible ruach. This shall be the portion of their cup. And then he says this, verse 7. He says, but the Sadiq, the righteous Yah, loves righteousness. But the righteous Yah loves righteousness. His countenance does behold the Yosha, those that are straight up and upright in heart. Those are the ones that he loves. Those are the ones that he has confidence in, nation. And our families don't love that one. He doesn't act like them. She doesn't walk like that. They don't love that one. What, you think you better than me? No. They would always ask me that. I say, no, why would I be better than you? We all came up through the same ordeals and the same corruption and the same drunkenness of our sins. But I will not participate in your folly. I will not join you in that, period. I will not. And I will not be a part of it. And I will not. I will not, nation. And so I was cast away from them. Not that, but I separated myself. I don't hate them. Not at all. This is a teaching that is going to take some time. But I want to read this. He tries the righteous. Righteous man, he's going to try you to show you what's in you. You think you got it all. You have nothing. You brought nothing and you're not taking anything. I want to show you this, that Yah hates. He hates the wicked man and the sinner. He hates your mama, your daddy, your sister, your grandmama, your grandpappy, and all, and me as well. Sirach 12:6, it says this. For the Most High Yah also hates. Nobody talks about his hate. You can't say he don't love everybody. This is how ignorant we is. Yes, We is. Plural subject, but we is. Singular verb. This are ignorant we is, but it says, for the Most High Yah also hate sinners, those that defy his Torah, those that turn their hearts away from Torah, and he will repay. Look what it says. He will pay vengeance on the wicked. Let me get this, nation. I just saw, man, that nasty thing. This is the time of year that we get. I don't know how this got in here. They call them stink bugs, and they are a mess. You don't even know they're in your home, but I live in the country. Back to the subject. I do apologize. Sirach says that he hates sinners, and he will repay them vengeance. Vengeance is mine, says Yah, on the wicked, and keep them against the mighty day of their punishment. That's what the book says. Well, you can't certify that. Well, I will certify that from the writings of David to Helium. Can I read this? 139:21. Same words. These are the words that David spoke from the bosom of Yah. Yah spoke. He says this to Yah. Do not I certainly hate them, O Yah? This is what this man said. Oh, I got to love everybody. I'm not going to be in their company, in their midst. He said, dude, this is David, the man of love, the man after the heart of Yah. And he says to Almighty Yah, he says this, Yah hates all workers of iniquity. Yah sure does too. To certify Sirach, and we're going to stop at this verse tonight. He says, do not I sonny, I despise, I hate them, O Yah, that you hate. Well, quote, I said this way, well, God loves everybody. Yah doesn't. But they would always talk about love, but they never talk about hate. Completely the diametric, but they're one. Love and hate. He asked this question. And he spoke with the heart of Yah. He was a man after the heart of Yah. Do not I hate them, O Yah. You know I'm not a clown, Yah. That's what he said. You know I will not compromise with these dogs, these demons of hell. He said, do I not hate them? Well, I just love my children. I know they do wrong, but they cannot. I don't want their fellowship. Do not I hate them? Do not I hate them just like Sirach? Sirach says, the Most High also hates sinners. That we had the heart of Yah. Do I not hate them, O Yah, that hate you? And am I not grieved with those that rise up against you? You ought to be. Your lying family members and the pigs and the pigsty. I don't have many family. I have no family members in the sense of biological birth. I don't participate in their affairs. I will not engage in their frivolity and folly. I will not. Their dinners or any of it. I'd rather eat a pauper's dinner, chicken wings and cornbread, than to be a part of the clamor and the steaks and all that. Do I not hate them, O Yah? He's talking to Yah. David. That hate you? Sonny. And am I not grieved with those that rise up against you? Look what he says in verse 22, Tehillim 139:22. I hate them. This is one of the first teachings I taught as a young, immature man. Still is immature, but old. He said, do I not hate them with a tomim, a perfect hatred? This is that we talking to Yah. We don't buy that, do we? I know we don't. I count them my enemy. Oh, just love everybody, their friends. I don't want them as my friends. I'm being honest. He said, I hate them with the perfect hatred. Hatred. I count them my enemies. And then he says to Yah, you think I'm wicked? He says, search me, O Yah, and know my heart. I want you to sarah. I want you to try me. Put me through the fire of hell and every test. Try me. And I want you to know my thoughts. They don't teach you this book this way. They teach you lies and fables, untruths, lies. They corrupt you even more. As my granny would say, wasa. That's what they do. Your violent whorehouse, the corrupt house, when you talk so mean, I tell you truth. Was he talking mean? I hate them with a tomim, a perfect, complete hatred. These are my enemies. They're not the friends of Yah. We don't like a man like me, but it's all right. I love the preaching of this truth. And can I tell you, I will not change it for no one. If I have no friends, I don't have that many friends. I have the few that honor this work, those that show me honor. But I don't have many friends, and I'm not upset. I really am not. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not upset with anyone. You're so mean. Am I? David said, I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my sonny, my enemies, those that defy Yah, those that lie and cheat. And then he tells you how to search me, oh Yah. I want you to understand to Yada my love, my heart. And I want you to Sarah, put me in the fire of hell. Try me. And Yada, Maleva, my mind. I want you to know that. This is Truth Nation. Truth will always make you examine yourself and show you what's really in you. You're hearing something that never makes you examine yourself. Oh. In my days, they will always tell you truth hurts. Truth statement. May Yah Baruch, my friends and my enemies as well. Yah's blessing rests upon you. I tell you, it's getting a little chilly. I got my office door open because it was hot. I'm working quite a bit today, trying to get things done. Making sure everything is in its proper position because we are planting now. We're planting. And so many things to plant, things I want to do. We first came here, we had some of everything. We had more people, so we could put people on assignment. But we had blueberries and blackberries, and we had everything. Strawberries, and Joaquin, Yarabia, and Achim are going a little farther south from us to purchase some. We have the strawberries we need to plant, blackberries that we're getting, and blueberries. We're into the raised beds. We would farm much in the beginning, and we're not doing that. It's just doesn't require that with the amount of people here. But I love to get out. I love to plant. I love to work. And we have been doing it today, YAH Sadak and I. And we got the soil that he made. He is the composition. He's the man that composed all of that. We had it tested, and they said, you don't need nothing for the next 2. The man said, at least 3 years, you need to add nothing. And we do use organic fertilizer and things like that. But he was telling me what he did. He, as the old folks would say, he put his foot in that. He did. And I was excited about planting on, it rained on Monday. We were able that evening here, to go out. We put out nearly 200 plants, a variety of kale, the brassicas, Brussels sprouts and broccoli and things like that, and kale and cabbage. So they give us a variety of what we can eat. I said to him today, I have never, and I was the first one to move here, seeing this kind of weather, this time of the year where there will not be a freezing frost, no more for the rest of the year. Now, something could happen, but I don't believe it. It was 78 degrees today here. I don't believe nothing is going to happen. And so I'm excited about planting. Get up early in the morning. I usually get up. My time is always the same time. I am up minimum 4 p.m., 4 a.m., sometimes a little early. I get up I get up around 4 a.m. every morning. I study and I do things. I'm lazy. And then I will begin my labor after breakfast and participate in the affairs that are vitally important and that we must get done, and teach everyone what I know. I teach every Achim what I know and how to do it. I ask questions. What do you say? I always ask. Well, no, I ask you the question. What should we do next? This is an affair that we participate in together, and we get it done. Yabruk, my friend Ach Lester, and all of you all on this great Kitzvah Emet. I pray that Yah has Baruch all of you. You learned something tonight. Bless you all that have joined us on this Kitzvah. And the only reason I'm doing it this way is because, as I said, the children will be going on a special trip tomorrow into Charlotte for one of the museums, and they're excited about that. Probably stop at a park and snack, take their foods and all of that. And we workers that will work, we will be here to handle business. And I will have to hit it. I got things I want to plant. As a matter of fact, I got some corn seeds soaking now to soften that outer shell. I got tomatoes I need to recup, around 200 plants. I will give away 100 or better, and we will keep the rest to grow and to eat until the frost of the year. And then next month we'll plant, and we'll plant April and May. And that was carry us all over to the spring. We planted, we picked broccoli, many plants that made it through the freeze of the winter the other day. And so we planted that, we picked that other day, and we were, Yabruch, my friend, Achpridi and all. And I picked broccoli yesterday and everything. Our plants are so beautiful. I'm the one that do all the seeding every year. I enjoy doing it. I really do, from day one. And I have learned immensely over the years with failure and prosperity, able to give and give out. That is the thing, because we're not going to be able to eat all of this food, all these veggies and everything. And they are tough for you. Wonderful eating. I don't like buying, especially things like that, out of stores. I don't like to buy cabbages or anything like that from stores. I don't. And we're in a position, we have Yah bless you, come visit. You'll see something you've never seen in your life. I mean that. It isn't always, it's a beautiful place. It is. There were quite a few people lived here, 141 at one time. And so it has drastically people tend to do, and they want to do their own thing, and I have no compunction with that. This is where I'm going to die. And this is where they will bury me. Oh, I know I said someone offers $5 million. It has to be more than this. This land has gold on it. This land is a land of gold, and one of the largest gold mines around us is buying up everything, taking the homes and all the land. The Australians owned it one time, and then the Canadians purchased it from them. And I recall about 8 years ago, the Canadian that was out surveying land wanted to give us, we could have made, with all the land we had, they would pay you about per acre. We could have made, if I can recall precisely, around $8,000 a year. Just let them put in their meters to read the elements in the song, and they would pay us for each acre. So it would have been a large amount of money. And so he brought all this paperwork, him and his wife, arrogant, man, so arrogant, haughty, and said, just sign this. I said, oh, no, let me read this. I have someone that's a lawyer. I will have them to look at this. Oh, that's fine. He came back again and he said to me, well, Riagda, we just decided we're not going to, we don't want to do this on your land. It's not my land. Because somewhere there was some fraudulent activities, that they will steal the land from these little poor people, especially the ones of my hue skin. You're not stealing from me, and you're not taking, but the amount of money, I said, oh man, every year we get that. Wow. And they wanted to do that for 5 years, and after that they wanted to buy it. And they have purchased up everything. They're underground. I say this. There was a Caucasian man that he purchased a bulldozer. I had paid $1,000 for this bulldozer and needed some work. It was a hog of a dozer. And I made more money from him than I purchased the dozer for. And he said to me, he said, I'm taking the job in the mines. And if I can recall, he told me I will work 12 hours a day on the ground. And I think he was making a minimum $100 an hour, more than that with overtime. And that's where he worked, at that pit. And you would have to see it. I haven't seen it in years, but it and the land they have purchased, every bit of land. And there was an old timer that has been here from day one in this area. He said to me, preacher, Mr. Sam Clark would not sell the people that land, and they wanted it from him. It was two things on that land that it was in abundance. It was gold and water. The man who drilled our first well, he said, preacher, that water here, you're not finding any water any better than that. 20 minutes from us, there's a Deer Park water bottling facility from underground water, 20 minutes from us. And Mr. Clark would not sell this land because it was water and it was gold. And yet he sold it. When I approached him, the man like me, he was about 6'5", 6'6", big man. He had killed about 3 or 4 men. He didn't play, but he liked me. I had an engagement with the business affair with him. He was a mechanic. And when he said that I would charge you that, he looks at me, this man, big man towering over me. He said, you're the only, I will not express what he used, that ever came to me and debated my prices. He said, I tell you what, I give you a 2-year guarantee on this motor. The motor went down. He repaired it. I could go to his business and talk. I would look at him the way he would treat people, especially women. And I would just look at him. This man was a killer. He didn't play with no one. But he liked me. He would say, none of those preachers are like you. None at all. And I would look at him the way he would entreat people. I'll just look at him. I'll look at him in his eyes. I didn't bat an eye. He said, what's wrong, preacher? He said, come on, Mr. C. I gave him that name, Mr. C. That's how you treat people. You don't do that woman like that. I would kick. He would talk mine. And he would kill you too. He would say to me, preacher, I like you. I didn't play in his folly, but he would do all of our mechanic work for everyone in that assembly in Charlotte. He was an honorable man, and this land came about this way. I'm going to close. I went to his office because I went to visit him one day. I knew he had land. He had land in a place in Charlotte called West Boulevard. They're building $1 million homes there now. Used to be for only people of my hue. He said, I tell you what, I need money. I got a piece of land. I signed it over to you on West Boulevard. That land, that one, I don't recall how many acres. It would be worth $5 million today, right there by the airport. Oh. I said, I don't want that. He sold us this land for $25,000. That's why it's the people's land. You could not get this piece of land. The minimum you're going to pay for a piece like that, even in our area, is $1 million+. That's no money. Now, if they come offer us $20 million, we can move our graves and everything, get our radio station. You can buy it. Nothing less than that. So I know they're not going to offer us that. So this is for the heritage of those that are with us. YAH Baruch Nation, be encouraged. Do support this work. I know that I am a preacher that there are not many people that like React weed. I have no compunction with that. But do support it. Send your tithes and offering. Yah grants you to come. Wonderful meal, clean food. That's all we eat, clean food. We know what we purchase from the store, and we are students of that for all these 30 plus years. We purchase nothing with foreign ingredients and nothing like that. We know what we're doing. Any kind of pork, any kind of unclean things. We eat clean around here. That's how we eat. YAH Baruch Nation, until the Shabbat, I say to you all, YAH Baruch, and be encouraged. We will stand in the ways of Yah, in Yahshua's name. YAH Baruch. Hallelujah. YAH Baruch.